The Premier League is back. Excitement is building as fans get to see some of their new signings in action for the very first time. It's been an incredible window so far, and it just keeps on getting better and better. Okay, much more throughout the day from Eddie Howe on Sky Sports News. He says there is no change when it comes to Alexander Isak's situation at Newcastle, and he says that will continue to be the case. Mark, just remind us what the current situation is and what happens next.
What happens next, I can't predict. It certainly feels like with every day that progresses towards deadline day and Alexander Isak is still at Newcastle, it feels like he'll remain at Newcastle because the chances of Newcastle trying to find a replacement is very difficult. Big question marks. We know that initial offer from Liverpool was rejected. There's been no second offer or further dialogue between the two football clubs. Their stance is, whilst they like Alexander Isak, they're not going to go back in until they get some sort of encouragement that there is a deal to be done. We know that Newcastle don't want to sell him. They value him at £150 million. So therefore, you'd have to say right now, it's just as we were, and as Eddie said, things unchanged at the moment, and the likelihood of him leaving, it feels like diminishes with every day that passes.
Mark Guehi, what about his situation, Asmir? Because what's he got, Mark? 1 year left on his contract at
1 year
Palace?
left on his Palace contract.
So what does he do? Does he go to the champions? Does he stay with Palace? Given that if he goes to Liverpool, he might not play all the time.
Again, I think if the option is to go to Liverpool is there, the appeal of going to the champions and one of the biggest clubs in the world is incredibly difficult to pass down. And I know there's been talks of him moving on before. I think it's been an absolutely incredible servant to Crystal Palace. He's won him now 2 trophies. He's done incredible things there. So it seems like the natural progression for him in his career to go test himself at the elite level. So going into your last year of your deal, you would love more security. I'm sure in his life, he would like maybe a longer term contract, which Liverpool will provide him with that. So, and Crystal Palace probably need to sell and cash in. They're not a club, I think, or most clubs aren't in positions to be able to let players go on a free. So it seems like there is a deal to be done. And if Liverpool do get him, then look out.
At the other end of the pitch, they have been linked with Alexander Isak. And Arne Slot told us today he wants at least one more forward.
It's clear that with Darwin gone and Luis Diaz gone, and even last season we had 5 or 6 options, I think. Again, Diogo, I need to mention him as well. So yeah, that we need to have one more attacker, at least.
Yeah, and we know who that might be. Asmir, I know you know Eddie Howe really well. How do you think he is going to handle this situation?
Well, it's a very difficult situation. I think it's a situation probably that's a little bit above him in terms of the clubs and the valuations on players and contracts and who's been promised what. So there can be very difficult situations and positions a manager can find themselves in because it's not for them to control all of these things. He will want to keep Alexander Isak, who wouldn't. You know, I think arguably the best striker in the Premier League. And he's going to communicate with him. He's going to look after him as well as he can. He also has to protect the squad. Obviously, he needs players who are all in, who are committed to the cause, not players who may be looking over their shoulders and looking for moves and maybe not being into their situation 100%. So it's a very, very difficult situation. But he's obviously very experienced now. How he's dealt with these things before, and I'm sure he's going to deal with it to the best of his abilities.
The guys, still there is the right definition also for the Alexander Isak deal, because Liverpool are still there. Liverpool are still prepared to bid if and when Newcastle will open doors to this move. Alexander Isak is doing his part in this story because Alexander Isak is not changing his stance. The player will not be available for the opening game against Aston Villa. Meanwhile, Newcastle today, after signing Malik Chow, 40 million euros from Milan, package add-ons included. Today, Newcastle also closed the deal for Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa for £40 million package. So, Ramsey is coming, Chow is done. Newcastle are working on the market, also looking at a striker, but obviously, if they find a striker and they decide to let Alexander Isak go, trust me, Liverpool will be very ready to send an official bid and to go in a very strong way for Alexander Isak in the final days of the window. Meanwhile, Isak will not be available for the game against Aston Villa. Isak doesn't want to play for Newcastle anymore. The message is quite clear for the Aston Villa game. Then, obviously, Newcastle will face Liverpool, and the idea for Alexander Isak is quite clear. He doesn't want to be on the pitch. Isak wants to go to Liverpool. So the position of the player remains very clear. The position of the player is really important in this saga. Liverpool are ready, waiting for Newcastle. And Newcastle now are in a position where they have to make a decision for Alexander Isak with a bit more than 2 weeks to go, but the Premier League is about to start, and obviously this kind of case is going to have an important impact on their plans for present and for future.
Ibrahima Konaté's future at Liverpool has become increasingly uncertain in recent weeks, with growing speculation that the French defender could be on the move this summer. Despite being under contract at Anfield until 2026, talks over a new deal appear to have stalled, and sources close to the player have expressed frustration with Liverpool's offer. According to multiple reports, Konaté and his representatives were disappointed by the club's initial terms for a contract extension, which fell short of their wage expectations. This breakdown in negotiations has opened the door for a possible exit before the end of the summer transfer window. Konaté, 26, is said to be open to a fresh challenge and is reportedly attracting serious interest from two of Europe's elite clubs, Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain. While both clubs are longtime admirers, Real Madrid has recently stepped up their pursuit. According to reports from Spain, Konaté has been offered to Madrid and is interested in the move, seeing the La Liga giants as his preferred destination. Sources suggest Madrid are keen to strengthen their backline and view Konaté as a long-term replacement for players like Nacho and Rudiger. However, Madrid are reportedly only willing to pay between £20 million and £25 million for the Frenchman, far short of Liverpool's £50 million valuation. PSG, on the other hand, have maintained interest in bringing Konaté back to France. Some reports claim he would be tempted by a return to Ligue 1, and the Parisians are keeping close tabs on the situation should Liverpool signal willingness to sell. PSG's interest is especially strong given their need to rebuild their defense around younger, physically dominant players, something Konaté certainly offers. Liverpool's stance appears to be shifting in response to the growing uncertainty. While the club would ideally like to keep Konaté as a cornerstone of their defensive setup, they are also wary of repeating the situation they faced with Trent Alexander-Arnold, who left for Real Madrid for free after letting his contract run down. To avoid a similar scenario, the Reds are reportedly open to selling Konaté this summer if no progress is made on a new contract. Sources within the club suggest that if an appropriate offer arrives, particularly one close to their £50 million valuation, they may be willing to sanction a transfer rather than risk losing him for nothing in 12 months' time. That said, not all reports point to an imminent departure. According to trusted Liverpool journalist Paul Gorst, there is still a belief that Konaté may stay, and he appears to remain happy and settled at the club for now. Gorst reports that there has been movement behind the scenes, and Liverpool are hopeful that renewed discussions could lead to a breakthrough in contract talks. Additionally, the club's new manager Arne Slot is reportedly keen to keep Konaté as part of his plans moving forward. Liverpool are close to finalising the sale of 19-year-old winger Ben Doak to Bournemouth in a deal worth £25 million. The Scottish international has been left out of the Red squad ahead of their Premier League opener, an indication that the transfer is all but confirmed. Reports from The Guardian and other sources suggest that personal terms are being discussed, and the deal is in its final stages. Doak joined Liverpool from Celtic in 2022 and quickly earned attention for his pace and direct attacking style. However, despite flashes of promise, he has struggled to secure regular first-team minutes, mainly due to injuries and strong competition for places. With Arne Slot now shaping his squad, it appears Doak is not seen as a central part of the manager's long-term plans. While Bournemouth are leading the race, interest in Doak has been widespread. Clubs such as Leeds, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Everton, Wolves, Brentford, Monaco, Bologna, PSV, and Nottingham Forest all expressed interest. Liverpool reportedly set a valuation between £25 to £30 million, and Bournemouth's willingness to meet that price has put them ahead of other suitors. Liverpool are open to a permanent sale rather than a loan, signalling a clear intent to move on from the player now. Former scout Mick Brown recently commented that Doak is unlikely to break into Slot's starting 11 anytime soon and that the club would be smart to sell while his value is high. From Bournemouth's perspective, the signing is an investment in young talent. Doak offers pace, unpredictability, and high upside attributes that could thrive in Andoni Iraola's attacking system. Doak himself is reportedly eager for more regular Premier League football, something Liverpool cannot currently offer. Financially, the deal is a win for Liverpool. Doak cost the club around £600,000 from Celtic, and the potential £25 million fee would represent a major profit. However, the move may raise concerns among fans about the club's willingness to part with talented youngsters amid a transitional period. With just weeks left in the transfer window, Doak's move to Bournemouth is expected to be completed soon. While some may see it as a missed opportunity, others view it as a smart decision both for the player's development and Liverpool's squad evolution.